make sure you get my good side.
My name is Nikki, and today we're going to be reviewing Kingdom Hearts 3. Isn't it 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 3. Okay. And today I have a very special guest joining me, and he is my brother, Noel.
Hello.
Tell us a bit about the game.
Well, it's a ridiculous series. It's Final Fantasy and Disney as a role-playing game. That's just ridiculous. It's needlessly complicated. The first one came out in 2002, I think. And this is the culmination of the story since then. Through, I think, at least 9 other games.
Okay, and did you play it on the Xbox One or PlayStation 4?
The Xbox One version.
And do you think that that was like better, or are they probably the same?
It's probably the same. I've heard the more powerful console versions have issues running the game for some reason. But I have a standard Xbox One and I've had no issue.
So what was your first impression of the game when you first got it? You got it the day it released, didn't you?
Yes, well, it looks amazing. They put a lot of effort into the visuals. It looks great. It plays very well. It feels very good. It feels very naturally bridging on from the second game. Even though that came out on PlayStation 2, the controls, it feels like it's just pick up and play knowing that game.
How long did it take you to complete the game since like you first started it?
I think it was 40 hours until I got to the end.
Solid? Like
Well, that's
literally
right.
like non-stop playing, like...
That's the game counted 40 hours of play.
Okay, but that's not the whole game, is it? Like that's like...
No, that was the main story.
storyline.
I'm at about 68 hours now, but I'm almost wrapping up the side content.
So how many days in total did it take you from the day you got it to like complete the story itself? Like, would you say it was shorter than it could have been or longer?
No, it felt a good length. I had it done within a week, but that's because I was,
doing nothing else.
most part, yeah. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of people who are very down on the writing and the story and the plot. But I enjoyed it for what it was. Definitely the voice acting could have been better. It really feels like they had very different sessions, long period of time apart to get made. Some of it felt like it was made well after other parts, and some of it is very grating because of that. Donald Duck's voice actor in particular, there's one line that really sounds like it's the first time they've done the line in a long time.
This might be a good spot to find some ingredients.
So what were like the top positive things that you like noticed about the game?
Well, it looks fantastic. It's one of the best looking games.
Looks good.
It plays very well. It plays very naturally.
Plays really naturally.
The worlds that they've designed, they look and feel wonderful, specifically of the world they are. The Toy Story world in particular, every time I go back to it, it kind of amazes me at how well it looks.
Oh, cool. The Toy Story world. Alright, cool. And what about the negatives?
Well, the game's definitely too easy.
Too easy. Okay.
There's not enough depth in the combat. There's a huge amount of animations and a huge amount of work that's gone into it. It looks great. You don't have to think. You just mash the attack button for most of the time and your character will do the rest. How
would you compare that to Kingdom Hearts 2?
Well, Kingdom Hearts 2 is sort of the gold standard of these games. It's definitely the best one. Except the story is very convoluted, but the gameplay is very solid. There's a lot of depth to the combat. You just need, if you watch a speedrun and playing that game, there's so much they can do with it that is not necessary at all. You feel very powerful, but it feels very effortless. I don't think I ever saw the proper dying screen.
Really?
Yeah. In the second game, there were at least 4 bosses that are complete gameplay stops, and you have to stop and work through them, at least for me. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, the secret end boss, I got on my first try without buying any potions or using any medkits.
So would you recommend the game to everyone?
I don't know about everyone. It really feels like it's trying to explain the very confusing plot for most of the game, so that can grate on people who've always played the previous games, but it also doesn't do a very good job of explaining the story, so that will grate on people who haven't played the other game. So it's kind of in that middle ground that's just not great. Overall, having played most of the other games and knowing all the plots of them, I knew what was going on at all times. Even with I think it's 2 hours of cutscenes that are on the disc to explain the previous games with a narrator, you'd still be very lost if you've never played the others.
You will kind of have to have played the other games to really get what's going on in this game. Would you recommend this game to a beginner who like doesn't really play games that much like myself?
To someone who doesn't play games particularly much and enjoys this kind of story, then yes, you could very well enjoy it, as long as you're willing to read up on the other games. There's a lot to unpack. There are a number of other problems. There are gummy ships, which have been a divisive feature in previous games. Some people like them, some people hate them. But they're required to progress in this game, so you can't just skip over them. Definitely one of the most difficult parts of the game, if you want to complete everything. The fact that you need to defeat certain bosses in this spaceship minigame before you can even get to the world where the actual gameplay goes on is probably something a lot of people wouldn't like.
How did you find the building?
Well, there's a lot of positives and a couple of negatives. It looks great. There's a lot of different kinds of material that you make the ships out of you couldn't do the other games that make it look, you know, reflective or made of sweep or anything like this, and that's great. And you can make a huge amount of different things. But the pieces you can use are a little more limited than before. You can't just buy more of the basic cube like you could in other games. You start with 34, I think. You just have to work with that for most of the game.
Would you say the building is better or worse than it was in the other game?
In some regards, it's a lot better. In other regards, it's a bit more limited. There are features in, say, Kingdom Hearts 2 where you could build two ships and link them and just transform between them. There's nothing like that in this game. There's not that many secret bosses in the game. There's only one properly. But the gummy ship missions have their own 4 or 5 unique bosses that are extra content that are very difficult, whereas the regular gameplay's bosses are not particularly difficult.
So, do you have any advice for people who would have played the other Kingdom Hearts games that you think would be important before playing this game?
You need to have played Dream Drop Distance, the most recent 3DS game. The story continues directly on from that.
Alright. Like, could you just like Google the other games like before you play this one and like find out what you need to know about the story and then play it, or would you still be lost?
You need to know specifically Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, as well as Birth by Sleep, are very important to know. You can kind of guess from a lot of the other games, but there would be a lot of story threads that would be wrapped up that you wouldn't have any idea about. You'd be watching cutscenes without knowing anything about the characters. There are a lot of people who have recently played through the whole series to try and get a hold on the story before this game came out, and I don't know that anyone has successfully completed the games before this one. There's so many games. On the PlayStation 4, you can get the 2.9 collection that comes with all of the games on one disc, basically. If you can get that and play through the most important ones, you'll be fine understanding what's going on.
What parts of the game would really stand out in your mind?
There are a lot of parts that stand out. The Disney world are very strong in this one, particularly the world that you go to in the Big Hero 6 world, San Francisco, it's a massive sort of open world city that you can visit in daytime and nighttime. It's very vertical. It very much reminds me of Spider-Man 2 and games of that like, where you just explore the city. It's a bit limited in size, but being one part of this massive whole is understandable. Part of Caribbean world as well is completely different to all of the other worlds. Instead of being the normal gameplay and combat, it feels like it's its own game built on itself, where you control pirate ships, there's underwater sections, there's ship-to-ship combat and all of these kinds of things, and its own leveling system for the ships. It feels almost like a completely different game, very much in line with the pirate ships in the Assassin's Creed series.
Is there anything else like important that you feel you want to add to that?
Well, the game's made me realise the kind of game I want to play. The combat is not really deep enough, and I'm definitely looking for other role-playing games right now to play that scratch that depth-ish itch. But this game does leave you a bit wanting in that regard.
Okay, cool. Is there any YouTube channels that you recommend someone who's interested in getting the game to go to?
Yeah, there's a lot of YouTube channels that are quite negative about this game. Some very popular people have said very hurtful things about it, but for the most part, if you stick to people like Extra Play, who's playing through the whole series of games, that would be a very good starting point, and it's a very good way to refresh yourself on all the games. There's even a game in there I haven't played that I only know from watching him play.
Would you 10 out of 10 recommend to a friend?
I'd recommend it to anyone who can look past some of the gameplay issues and who's just looking for more Kingdom Hearts to play. or even more Disney to look at. I quite enjoyed the game. As long as you don't focus on the issues like the combat being a bit shallow, a bit of lack of extra content, I don't regret my purchase at all.
Good. Alright, well, cool. Thanks, Noel. I really appreciate that. Well, yeah, so I guess that's it. Thanks again, Noel. If you do like this video, don't forget to give us a Noel thumbs up and subscribe. Yeah, and leave a comment below on your own thoughts if you liked it or didn't like it and maybe your reason why, and let us know. See you in the next one.